Act 3 of The Beggar's Opera by John Gay. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 3, Scene 1, Scene Newgate. Locket, Lucy.
To be sure, wench, you must have been aiding and abetting to help him to this escape.
Sir, here have been Peachum and his daughter Polly, and to be sure they know the ways of Newgate as well as if they had been born and bred in the place all their lives. Why must all your suspicion light upon me?
Lucy, Lucy, I will have none of these shuffling answers.
Well then, if I know anything of him, I wish I may be burnt.
Keep your temper, Lucy, or I shall pronounce you guilty.
Keep yours, sir. I do wish I may be burned, I do. And what can I say more to convince you?
Did he tip handsomely? How much did he come down with? Come, I say, don't cheat your father. I shall not be angry with you. Perhaps you have made a better bargain with him than I could have done. How much, my good girl?
You know, sir, I am fond of him, and would have given money to have kept him with me.
Ah, Lucy, thy education might have put thee more upon thy guard, for a girl in the bar of an alehouse is always besieged.
Dear sir, mention not my education, for 'twas to that I owe my ruin.
Air 41, If Love's a Sweet Passion.
When young at the bar you first taught me to score, and bid me be free of my lips and no more. I was kissed by the parson, the squire, and the sot. When the guest was departed, the kiss was forgot. But his kiss was so sweet, and so closely he pressed, that I languished and pined till I granted the rest. If you can forgive me, sir, I will make a fair confession, for to be sure he hath been a most barbarous villain to me.
And so you have let him escape, hussy, have you?
When a woman loves, a kind look, a tender word can persuade her to anything, and I could ask no other bribe.
Thou wilt always be a vulgar slut, Lucy. If you had not been looked upon as a fool, you should never do anything but upon the foot of interest. Those that act otherwise are their own bubbles.
But love, sir, is a misfortune that may happen to the most discreet woman, and in love we are all fools alike. Notwithstanding all he swore, I am now fully convinced that Polly Peachum is actually his wife. Did I let him escape, fool that I was, to go to her? Polly will wheedle herself into his money, and then Peachum will hang him and cheat us both.
So I am to be ruined because, forsooth, you must be in love. A very pretty excuse.
I could murder that impudent, happy strumpet. I gave him his life, and that creature enjoys the sweets of it. Ungrateful Macheath.
Air 42, South Sea Ballad.
My love is all madness and folly. Alone I lie, toss, tumble, and cry. What a happy creature is Polly! Was e'er such a wretch as I? With rage I redden like scarlet, that my dear inconstant varlet, stark blind to my charms, is lost in the arms of that jilt, that inveigling harlot. Stark blind to my charms, is lost in the arms of that jilt, that inveigling harlot. This my resentment alarms.
And so, after all this mischief, I must stay here to be entertained with your caterwauling mistress Puss. Out of my sight, wanton strumpet! You shall fast and mortify yourself into reason, with now and then a little handsome discipline to bring you to your senses. Go!
Scene 2, Locket.
Peachum then intends to outwit me in this affair, but I'll be even with him. The dog is leaky in his liquor, so I'll ply him that way, get the secret from him, and turn this affair to my own advantage. Lions, wolves, and vultures don't live together in herds, droves, or flocks. Of all animals of prey, man is the only sociable one. Every one of us preys upon his neighbour, and yet we herd together. Peachum is my companion, my friend. According to the custom of the world, indeed, he may quote thousands of precedents for cheating me. And shall not I make use of the privilege of friendship to make him a return?
Air 43, Packington's Pound.
Thus gamesters united in friendship are found, though they know that their industry always a cheat. They flock to their prey at the dice-box's sound, and join to promote one another's deceit. But if by mishap they fail of a chap to keep in their hands, they each other entrap. Like pikes, lank with hunger, who miss of their ends, they bite their companions and prey on their friends. Now, Peachum, you and I, like honest tradesmen, are to have a fair trial, which of us two can overreach the other. Lucy.
Enter Lucy.
Are there any of Peachum's people now in the house?
Filch, sir, is drinking a quartern of strong waters in the next room with Black Moll.
Bid him come to me.
Scene 3, Locket, Filch.
Why, boy, thou lookest as if thou wert half-starved, like a shot herring.
One had need have the constitution of a horse to go through the business. Since the favourite child-getter was disabled by a mishap, I have picked up a little money by helping the ladies to a pregnancy against their being called down to sentence. But if a man cannot get an honest livelihood any easier way, I am sure 'tis what I can't undertake for another session.
Truly, if that great man should tip off, 'twould be an irreparable loss. The vigour and prowess of an errant never saved half the ladies in distress that he hath done. But, boy, canst thou tell me where thy master is to be found?
At his lock, sir, at the Crooked Billet.
Very well. I have nothing more with you.
Exit Filch.
I'll go to him there, for I have many important affairs to settle with him, and in the way of those transactions I'll artfully get into his secret, so that Macheath shall not remain a day longer out of my clutches.
Scene 4, A Gaming House. Macheath in a fine tarnished coat, Ben Budge, Mat of the Mint.
I am sorry, gentlemen, the road was so barren of money. When my friends are in difficulties, I am always glad that my fortune can be serviceable to them.
Gives them money.
You see, gentlemen, I am not a mere court friend who professes everything and will do nothing.
Air 44, Lily Bolero.
The modes of the court so common are grown that a true friend can hardly be met. Friendship for interest is but a loan, which they let out for what they can get. 'Tis true, you find some friends so kind, who will give you good counsel themselves to defend. In sorrowful ditty, they promise, they pity, but shift you for money from friend to friend. But we, gentlemen, have still honor enough to break through the corruptions of the world, and while I can serve you, you may command me.
It grieves my heart that so generous a man should be involved in such difficulties as oblige him to live with such ill company and herd with gamesters.
See the partiality of mankind. One man may steal a horse better than another look over a hedge. Of all mechanics, of all servile handicraftsmen, the gamester is the vilest. But yet, as many of the quality are of the profession, he is admitted amongst the politest company. I wonder we are not more respected.
There will be deep play to-night at Marybone, and consequently money may be picked up upon the road. Meet me there, and I'll give you the hint Who is worth setting?
The fellow with a brown coat with a narrow gold binding, I am told, is never without money.
What do you mean, Matt? Sure you will not think of meddling with him. He's a good, honest kind of a fellow, and one of us.
To be sure, sir. We will put ourselves under your direction.
Have an eye upon the money-lenders. A rouleau or two would prove a pretty sort of an expedition. I hate extortion.
Those rouleaux are very pretty things. I hate your bank bills. There is such a hazard in putting them off.
There is a certain man of distinction, who in his time hath nicked me out of a great deal of the ready. He is in my cash, Ben. I'll point him out to you this evening, and you shall draw upon him for the debt. The company are met. I hear the dice-box in the other room. So, gentlemen, your servant, you'll meet me at Marybone.
Scene 5. Peacham's Lock. A table with wine, brandy, pipes, and tobacco. Peacham Lockett.
The coronation account, Brother Peacham, is of so intricate a nature that I believe it will never be settled.
It consists indeed of a great variety of articles. It was worth to our people in fees of different kinds above 10 instalments. This is part of the account, brother, that lies open before us.
A lady's tale of rich brocade, that I see is disposed of.
To Mrs. Diana Trapes, the tally woman, and she will make a good hand on't in shoes and slippers to trick out young ladies upon their going into keeping.
But I don't see any article of the jewels.
Those are so well known that they must be sent abroad. You'll find them entered under the article of exportation. As for the snuff-boxes, watches, swords, etc., I thought it best to enter them under their several heads.
27 women's pockets complete, with the several things therein contained, all sealed, numbered, and entered.
But, brother, it is impossible for us now to enter upon this affair. We should have the whole day before us. Besides, the account of the last half-year's plate is in a book by itself, which lies at the other office.
Bring us then more liquor. Today shall be for pleasure, tomorrow for business. Ah, brother, those daughters of ours are two slippery hussies. Keep a watchful eye upon Polly, and Macheath in a day or two shall be our own again.
Air 45. Down in the North Country.
What gudgeons are we men? Every woman's easy prey. There we have felt the hook, again we bite, and they betray. The bird that hath been trapped, when he hears his calling mate, to her he flies, again he's clapped within the wiry grate.
But what signifies catching the bird if your daughter Lucy will set open the door of the cage?
If men were answerable for the follies and frailties of their wives and daughters, no friends could keep a good correspondence together for 2 days. This is unkind of you, brother, for among good friends what they say or do goes for nothing.
Enter a servant.
Sir, here's Mrs. Diana Trapes wants to speak with you.
Shall we admit her, Brother Lockett?
By all means. She's a good customer and a fine-spoken woman, and a woman who drinks and talks so freely will enliven the conversation.
Desire her to walk in.
Exit servant. Scene 6. Peacham, Lockett, Mrs. Trapes.
Dear Mrs. Di, your servant. One may know by your kiss that your gin is excellent.
I was always very curious in my liquors.
There is no perfume breath like it. I have been long acquainted with the flavour of those lips. Hand time, Mrs. Di.
Fill it up. I take as large draughts of liquor as I did of love. I hate a flincher in either.
Air 46. A shepherd kept sheep.
In the days of my youth I could bill like a dove, fa la 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 la. Like a sparrow at all times was ready for love, fa la 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 la. The life of all mortals in kissing should pass, lip to lip while we're young, then the lip to the glass, fa la 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 la. But now, Mr. Peachum, to our business. If you have blacks of any kind, brought in of late, manteaus, velvet scarfs, petticoats, let it be what it will, I am your chap, for all my ladies are very fond of mourning.
Why, look'ee, Mrs. Di, you deal so hard with us that we can afford to give the gentlemen who venture their lives for the goods little or nothing.
The hard times oblige me to go very near in my dealing. To be sure, of late years I have been a great sufferer by the Parliament. 3,000 pounds would hardly make me amends. The Act for destroying the Mint was a severe cut upon our business. Till then, if a customer stepped out of the way, we knew where to have her. No doubt you know Mrs. Coaxer. There's a wench now, till to-day, with a good suit of clothes of mine upon her back, and I could never set eyes upon her for 3 months together. Since the Act, too, against imprisonment for small sums, my loss there, too, hath been very considerable, and it must be so when a lady can borrow a handsome petticoat or a clean gown, and I have not the least hank upon her. And on my conscience, nowadays most ladies take a delight in cheating when they can do it with safety.
Madam, you had a handsome gold watch of us t'other day for 7 guineas. Considering we must have our profit, to a gentleman upon the road, a gold watch will be scarce worth the taking.
Consider, Mr. Peachum, that watch was remarkable, and not of very safe sale. If you have any black velvet scarfs, they are a handsome winter wear, and take with most gentlemen who deal with my customers. 'Tis I that put the ladies upon a good foot. 'Tis not youth or beauty that fixes their price. The gentlemen always pay according to their dress, from half a crown to 2 guineas. And yet those hussies make nothing of bilking of me. Then, too, allowing for accidents, I have 11 fine customers now down under the surgeon's hands. What with fees and other expenses, there are great goings out and no comings in, and not a farthing to pay for at least a month's clothing. We run great risks indeed.
As I remember, you said something just now of Mrs. Coaxer.
Yes, sir. To be sure, I stripped her of a suit of my own clothes about 2 hours ago, and have left her as she should be, in her shift, with a lover of hers at my house. She called him upstairs as he was going to Marybone in a hackney coach, and I hope for her own sake and mine she will persuade the captain to redeem her, for the captain is very generous to the ladies.
What captain?
He thought I did not know him. An intimate acquaintance of yours, Mr. Peachum. Only Captain Macheath, as fine as a lord.
To-morrow, dear Mrs. Di, you shall set your own price upon any of the goods you like. We have at least 6 velvet scarfs, and all at your service. Will you give me leave to make you a present of this suit of night clothes for your own wearing? But are you sure it is Captain Macheath?
Though he thinks I have forgot him, nobody knows him better. I have taken a great deal of the captain's money in my time at second hand, for he always loved to have his ladies well dressed.
Mr. Lockett and I have a little business with the captain. You understand me? And we will satisfy you for Mrs. Coaxer's debt.
Depend upon it, we will deal like men of honour.
I don't inquire after your affairs, so whatever happens, I wash my hands on it. It hath always been my maxim that one friend should assist another. But if you please, I'll take one of the scarfs home with me. 'Tis always good to have something in hand.
Scene 7, Newgate, Lucy.
Jealousy, rage, love, and fear are at once tearing me to pieces. How I am weather-beaten and shattered with distresses.
Air 47. One evening having lost my way.
I'm like a skiff on the ocean tossed, now high, now low, with each billow borne, with her rudder broke, and her anchor lost, deserted, and all forlorn. While thus I lie rolling and tossing all night, that Polly lies sporting on seas of delight. Revenge, revenge, revenge shall appease my restless sprite. I have the ratsbane ready. I run no risk, for I can lay her death upon the gin, and so many die of that naturally that I shall never be called in question. But say I were to be hanged, I never could be hanged for anything that would give me greater comfort than the poisoning that slut.
Enter Filch.
Madam, here's Miss Polly come to wait upon you.
Show her in.
Scene 8. Lucy, Polly.
Dear madam, your servant. I hope you will pardon my passion when I was so happy to see you last. I was so overrun with the spleen that I was perfectly out of myself. And really, when one hath the spleen, everything is to be excused by a friend.
Air 48. Now, Roger, I'll tell thee because thou'rt my son.
When a wife's in her pout, as she sometimes, no doubt, the good husband as meek as a lamb, her vapours to still, first grants her a will, and the quieting draught is a dram. Poor man! And the quieting draught is a dram. I wish all our quarrels might have so comfortable a reconciliation.
I have no excuse for my own behaviour, madam, but my misfortunes. And really, madam, I suffered too upon your account.
But, Miss Polly, in the way of friendship, will you give me leave to propose a glass of cordial to you?
Strong waters are apt to give me the headache. I hope, madam, you will excuse me.
Not the greatest lady in the land could have better in her closet, for her own private drinking. You seem mighty low in spirits, my dear.
I am sorry, madam, my health will not allow me to accept your offer. I should not have left you in the rude manner I did when we met last, madam, had not my papa hauled me away so unexpectedly. I was indeed somewhat provoked, and perhaps might use some expressions that were disrespectful. But really, madam, the captain treated me with so much contempt and cruelty that I deserved your pity rather than your resentment.
But since his escape, no doubt all matters are made up again. Ah, Polly, Polly, 'tis I am the unhappy wife, and he loves you as if you were only his mistress.
Sure, madam, you cannot think me so happy as to be the object of your jealousy. A man is always afraid of a woman who loves him too well. So I must expect to be neglected and avoided.
Then our cases, my dear Polly, are exactly alike. Both of us indeed have been too fond.
Air 49. O Bessie Bell.
A curse attend that woman's love, who always would be pleasing.
The pertness of the billing dove, like tickling, is but teasing.
What then in love can a woman do?
If we grow fond, they shun us.
And when we fly them, they pursue.
But leave us when they've won us. Love is so very whimsical in both sexes that it is impossible to be lasting. But my heart is particular, and contradicts my own observation.
But really, Mistress Lucy, by his last behaviour I think I ought to envy you. When I was forced from him, he did not show the least tenderness. But perhaps he hath a heart not capable of it.
Air 50. Would fate to me Belinda give.
Among the men coquettes we find, who court by terms all womankind, and we grant all their hearts desired, when they are flattered and admired. The coquettes of both sexes are self-lovers, and that is a love that no other whatever can dispossess. I hear, my dear Lucy, our husband is one of those.
Away with these melancholy reflections. Indeed, my dear Polly, we are both of us a cup too low. Let me prevail upon you to accept of my offer.
Air 51, Come Sweet Lass.
Come, sweet lass, let's banish sorrow till tomorrow. Come, sweet lass, let's take a chirping glass. Wine can clear the vapours of despair, and make us light as air. Then drink and banish care. I can't bear, child, to see you in such low spirits, and I must persuade you to what I know will do you good.
Aside.
I shall now soon be even with the hypocritical strumpet.
Scene 9, Polly.
All this wheedling of Lucy cannot be for nothing. At this time, too, when I know she hates me. That dissembling of a woman is always the forerunner of mischief. By pouring strong waters down my throat, she thinks to pump some secrets out of me. I'll be upon my guard, and won't taste a drop of her liquor. I'm resolved.
Scene 10, Lucy with strong waters. Polly.
Come, Miss Polly.
Indeed, child, you have given yourself trouble to no purpose. You must, my dear, excuse me.
Really, Miss Polly, you are as squeamishly affected about taking a cup of strong waters as a lady before company. I vow, Polly, I shall take it monstrously ill if you refuse me. Brandy and men, though women love them ever so well, are always taken by us with some reluctance, unless 'tis in private.
I protest, madam, it goes against me. What do I see? Macheath again in custody? Now every glimmering of happiness is lost.
Drops the glass of liquor on the ground. Lucy aside.
Since things are thus, I'm glad the wench hath escaped. For by this event 'tis plain she was not happy enough to deserve to be poisoned.
Scene 11, Lockett, Macheath, Peacham, Lucy, Polly.
Set your heart to rest, Captain. You have neither the chance of love or money for another escape, for you are ordered to be called down upon your trial immediately.
Away, hussies! This is not a time for a man to be hampered with his wives. You see the gentleman is in chains already.
Oh, husband, husband, my heart longed to see thee, but to see thee thus distracts me.
Will not my dear husband look upon his Polly? Why hast thou not flown to me for protection? With me thou hadst been safe.
Air 52, The last time I went o'er the moor.
Hither, dear husband, turn your eyes.
Bestow one glance to cheer me.
Think with that look thy Polly dies.
Oh, shun me not, but hear me.
'Tis Polly sues.
'Tis Lucy speaks.
Is thus true love requited?
My heart is bursting.
Mine too breaks.
Must I
be slighted?
What would you have me say, ladies? You see this affair will soon be at an end, without my disobliging either of you.
But the settling this point, Captain, might prevent a lawsuit between your two widows.
Air 53, Tom Tinker's my true love.
Which way shall I turn me? How can I decide? Wives, the day of our death, are as fond as a bride. One wife is too much for most husbands to hear, but two at a time there's no mortal can bear. This way and that way, and which way I will. What would comfort the one, t'other wife would take ill.
But if his own misfortunes have made him insensible to mine, a father sure will be more compassionate. Dear, dear sir, sink the material evidence and bring him off at his trial. Polly upon her knees begs it of you.
Air 54, I am a poor shepherd undone.
When my hero in court appears, and stands arraigned for his life, then think of poor Polly's tears, for poor Polly's his wife. Like the sailor he holds up his hand, distressed on the dashing wave. To die a dry death at land is as bad as a watery grave. And alas, poor Polly, alack and well a day! Before I was in love, oh, every month was May.
If Peacham's heart is hardened, sure you, sir, will have more compassion on a daughter.
Kneeling.
I know the evidence is in your power. How then can you be a tyrant to me?
Air 55, Ianthe the Lovely.
When he holds up his hand arraigned for his life, oh, think of your daughter, and think I'm his wife. What are cannons, or bombs, or clashing of swords? For death is more certain by witnesses' words, than nail up their lips, that dread thunder allay, and each month of my life will hereafter be May.
The Keith's time is come, Lucy. We know our own affairs, therefore let us have no more whimpering or whining.
Air 56, a cobbler there was.
Ourselves like the great to secure a retreat, when matters require it, must give up our gang, and good reason why, or instead of the fry, even Peacham and I, like poor petty rascals, might hang, like poor petty rascals might hang.
Set your heart at rest, Polly. Your husband is to die today. Therefore, if you are not already provided, 'tis high time to look about for another. There's comfort for you, you slut.
We are ready, sir, to conduct you to the Old Bailey.
Air 57, Bonnie Dundee.
The charge is prepared, the lawyers are met, the judges all ranged, a terrible show. I go, undismayed, for death is a debt on demand, so take what I owe. Then farewell, my love, dear charmers, adieu. Contented I die, 'tis the better for you. Here ends all disputes, the rest of our lives. For this way at once I please all my wives. Now, gentlemen, I am ready to attend you.
Scene 12, Lucy, Polly, Filch.
Follow them, Filch, to the court! And when the trial is over, bring me a particular account of his behaviour, and of everything that happened. You'll find me here with Miss Lucy.
Exit Filch.
But why is all this music?
The prisoners whose trials are put off till next session are diverting themselves.
Sure there is nothing so charming as music. I'm fond of it to distraction, but alas, now all mirth seems an insult upon my affliction. Let us retire, my dear Lucy, and indulge our sorrows. The noisy crew, you see, are coming upon us.
Exeunt. A dance of prisoners in chains. Scene 13, the condemned hold. Macheath in a melancholy posture. Air 58, Happy Groves.
O cruel, cruel, cruel case! Must I suffer this disgrace?
Air 59, of all the girls that are so smart.
Of all the friends in time of grief, when threatening death looks grimmer, not one so sure can bring relief as this best friend, a brimmer.
Drinks. Air 60, Britons strike home.
Since I must swing, I scorn to wince or whine.
Rises. Air 61, Chevy Chase.
But now again my spirits sink, I'll raise them high with wine.
Drinks a glass of wine. Air 62, to old Sir Simon the King.
But valour the stronger grows, the stronger liquor we're drinking, and how can we feel our woes when we've lost the trouble of thinking.
Drinks. Air 63, Joy to Great Caesar.
If thus a man can die, much bolder with brandy.
Pours out a bumper of brandy. Air 64, There was an old woman.
So I drink off this bumper, and now I can stand the test, and my comrades shall see that I die as brave as the best.
Drinks. Air 65, Did you ever hear of a gallant sailor?
But can I leave my pretty hussies without one tear or tender sigh?
Air 66, Why are mine eyes still flowing?
Their eyes, their lips, their busses recall my love. Ah, must I die?
Air 67, Greensleeves.
Since laws were made for every degree to curb vice in others as well as me, I wonder we hain't better company upon Tyburn tree. But gold from law can take out the sting, and if rich men like us were to swing, 'twould thin the land, such numbers to string upon Tyburn tree.
Some friends of yours, Captain, desire to be admitted. I leave you together.
Scene 14, Macheath, Ben Budge, Matt of the Mint.
For my having broke prison, you see, gentlemen, I am ordered immediate execution. The sheriff's officers, I believe, are now at the door. That Jemmy Twitcher should peach me, I own surprised me. 'Tis a plain proof that the world is all alike, and that even our gang can no more trust one another than other people. Therefore I beg you, gentlemen, look well to yourselves, for in all probability you may live some months longer.
We are heartily sorry, Captain, for your misfortune, but 'tis what we must all come to.
Peachum and Lockett, you know, are infamous scoundrels. Their lives are as much in your power as yours are in theirs. Remember your dying friend. 'Tis my last request. Bring those villains to the gallows before you, and I am satisfied.
We'll do't.
Miss Polly and Miss Lucy entreat a word with you.
Gentlemen, adieu.
Scene 15, Lucy, Macheath, Polly.
My dear Lucy, my dear Polly, whatsoever hath passed between us is now at an end. If you are fond of marrying again, the best advice I can give you is to ship yourselves off for the West Indies, where you'll have a fair chance of getting a husband apiece, or by good luck 2 or 3, as you like best.
How can I support this sight?
There's nothing moves one so much as a great man in distress.
Air 68, or you that must take a leap.
Would I might be hanged.
And I would too.
To be hanged with you.
My dear, with you.
Oh, leave me to thought. I fear, I doubt, I tremble, I droop. See, my courage is out.
Turns up the empty bottle.
No token of love.
See, my courage is out.
Turns up the empty pot.
No token of love.
Adieu.
Farewell.
But hark, I hear the toll of the bell.
4 women more, Captain, with a child apiece. See, here they come.
Enter women and children.
What? 4 wives more? This is too much. Here, Tell the sheriff's officers I am ready.
Exit Macheath guarded. Scene 16. To them enter player and beggar.
But, honest friend, I hope you don't intend that Macheath shall really be executed.
Most certainly, sir. To make the piece perfect, I was for doing strict poetical justice. Macheath is to be hanged, and for the other personages of the drama, the audience must have supposed they were all either hanged or transported.
Why, then, friend, this is a downright deep tragedy. The catastrophe is manifestly wrong, for an opera must end happily.
Your objection, sir, is very just, and is easily removed. For you must allow that in this kind of drama 'tis no matter how absurdly things are brought about. So you rabble there, run and cry, a reprieve? Let the prisoner be brought back to his wives in triumph.
All this we must do to comply with the taste of the town.
Through the whole piece you may observe such a similitude of manners in high and low life, that it is difficult to determine whether, in the fashionable vices, the fine gentlemen imitate the gentleman of the road, or the gentleman of the road the fine gentleman. Had the play remained, as I at first intended, it would have carried a most excellent moral. 'Twould have shown that the lower sort of people have their vices in a degree as well as the rich, and that they are punished for them.
Scene 17. To them Macheath with rabble.
So it seems I am not left to my choice, but must have a wife at last. Look ye, my dears, we will have no controversy now. Let us give this day to mirth, and I am sure she who thinks herself my wife will testify her joy by a dance.
Come, a dance, a dance.
Ladies, I hope you will give me leave to present a partner to each of you, and, if I may without offence, for this time I take Polly for mine.
To Polly.
And for life, you slut, for we were really married. As for the rest, but at present keep your own secret.
A dance. Air 69. Lumps of pudding.
Thus I stand like the Turk with his doxies round. From all sides their glances his passion confound. For black, brown, and fair his inconstancy burns, and the different beauties subdue him by turns. Each calls forth her charms to provoke his desires, though willing to all, with but one he retires. But think of this maxim, and put off your sorrow. The wretch of to-day may be happy to-morrow.
But think of this maxim, and put off your sorrow. The wretch of to-day may be happy to-morrow.
Finis. End of Act 3. End of The Beggar's Opera by John Gay.